Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Comedians.
Hey, do you see them? The two Irish fellas playing snooker. You didn't see the Irish Championships, did you? With the rest. And they hadn't put a ball down for 2 hours. One said, Julie, should we cheat? He said, nobody's looking. Take that wooden triangle off.
This fella said to his mate, he says, can I tap you for £100? He said, for £100, you can hit me on the head with a sledgehammer.
This fella was walking along the road with a bag, and in the bag, he was walking along, big lumps in the bag. And the policeman pulled him up, 3 o'clock in the morning. He said, what have you got in the bag? He said, horse manure. He said, horse manure, 3 o'clock in the morning. He said, where'd you get it from? He said, I bought it in the pub. He said, horse manure, let me have a look, I don't believe you. And he opened the bag and he looked, horse manure. He said, you bought it in the pub? He said, yeah. The fella said it was a sack of poo-poo. I thought it was a Japanese motorbike.
And my grandad, him to keep cockroaches, mate. Rhode Island Reds, them some good ones, mate. He cannot tread, mate. And this fella with this big car run over his prize cockroach. No. Him took him back to my grandad. He said, I've killed your cockroach. I'd like to replace him. My gramp said, help yourself. The ends are around the back of him.
Two hens talking on this farm once said, here comes that cross-eyed cock. Look, spread out as you missed a pair of us.
I went in the Chinese. I said, hey, this chicken's rubbery. He said, thank you very much.
Maggie Thatcher died and the good Lord phoned the devil. He said, heaven here. What have you sent her up here for? We don't want her. She belongs in hell and damnation with you. The devil said I had to get rid of her. I only had her a week. She shut 4 furnaces.
Fella said to me, your mother-in-law has just died. Do you want her embalmed, buried, or cremated? I said, take no chances. Give her the lot.
There's a fella flying over the Amazon basin in a 1-engine plane. And his plane crashed, and he woke up, and there was a 9-foot pygmy looking at him. And he woke up, and he said, where am I? And this 9-foot pygmy went, actually, you're in the Amazon basin. He said, I saw your plane crash, and I noticed you had a broken tibia and fibia. Put a splint on your leg, and you'll be up in about 3 days. This fellow said, are you English? He said, no. England's a place I've always wanted to visit. He said, your English is impeccable. He said, yes. I picked it up off a shortwave radio.
And this fella says to me, what about a game of darts? I said, I'm not much good at darts. He said, well, I've never thrown darts at a dartboard. I'll play for a pint of lager and a quid. I said, it'll pass an hour. You start out through treble 20, triple 20, triple... I said, I'm an idiot. But you said you hadn't thrown... He said, well, I didn't say that. What I said was, I'd never thrown darts at a dartboard. Well, I said, where do you learn to throw darts again? He said, well, if I set a darts at home and during the summer, I pin the flies to the wall. I said, when you get the blood splashed up the wallpaper, he said, no, I pin them by the leg.
So I'm taking me pints, and you know, you started to be friendly. The fella stood next to me. So then anyway, you know, like I said, all right, like. And this barmaid says to me, don't talk to him, he's a psychopath. So I said to him, do you do this crazy paving? No, she said, he's a head the ball. So I said, I'm going to keep my mouth shut here, like. Like that. And I heard this voice say, fancy a game of darts? So I never looked around, you know. I said, I don't play darts. He said, well, you're a troublemaker. I said, no, I just don't play darts. He said, go on, give us a game. So I said to the barmaid, have you any darts? She said, 50p deposit. I said, give us 3. So I give it the 50p. And I turned around then, this fella, and I noticed he had no arms. I thought, oh, God, he must have a gang with him. He said to me, you go first. So I got on the hockey, you know. I was dead lucky, I got 2 4s. So I'm out the board like 293. Then I turned around to him. I stood there like, he said, put the dart in my mouth, feathers first. So I put the dart in his mouth, feathers first. I said, what happens now? He said, throw the board at me.
There was this warrior in the jungle, and he broke out in a rash, and he went to see the witch doctor, and he went, hey, witch. Yeah. He said, I broke out in this rash, and he said, and he rattled some beads, and he went, go back to a village, get your best friend, cut his head off, stick him in big pot, boil him up. When it's turned too fat, dripping, rub the dripping over the rash. So he did this, and he went back 3 weeks later. He said, it's gone. What do you call that stuff? He said, Palamine lotion.
Sometimes my mother would buy our clothes from the Army and Navy stores. It's no fun going to school dressed as a Japanese admiral. My mother was dressed as a Gurkha. I went to school one day with the same dress on as the teachers. He was more embarrassed than what I was. Didn't like school. I was shy when I was a kid. I never went to school till I was 10. The first day there, they made me drink 5 years free milk. I got expelled after a week. A teacher asked the class, can anyone describe Virgin on the Ridiculous? I said, would it be a nun on a skateboard?
Of course, when you'd to go back, and I'd had me just a drop before I come out this morning, I had to go down and see my mate. And his granddad come in. Him's a fun young mate. Him's got a wooden leg, say, hook on his hand and a patch on his hide. He said to him once, how'd you lose your leg then, old un? Oh, him said, Battle of Jutland, First World War, mate. Shell splinter took him right off at the knee, him said. They offered high a aluminium hun. But I hadn't have him. I had a hook on. Oh, that's nice, I said. How slews thy hand then? Oh, he said, 'twas my fault, messed about with the engine. He said, and it took right off at the wrist there. Of course, he said, they offered I a aluminium hun. But I hadn't have him. I had a hook. I said, how'd you lose your eye? He said, well, seagulls droppings, he said, at Weston-super-Mare last year. I said, how the hell that happened? He said, I was trying to wipe it out with his bloody hook, he said, mate.
Have you ever watched yourselves at home when you get a pet? You get a kitten or a puppy. You all around the house like that, don't you? Come on, then. Come on. Where's your lead? Come on, show me your lead. Come on. My granny was like this for 3 months. This dog never moved. Deaf. She took it to the vet, and the vet was a fabulous fella. He made it a little hearing aid to stick in its lug hole. And it had a big battery strapped to its belly. And my granny was ever so pleased. She put it in his basket. She said, "Good night, Spot," because it was all black. And its ear went up, and she said, "It can hear me." And she went to bed with a smile on her face, and she woke up, it was dead. Peed on its battery and blew itself up.
These two men went into the clubhouse and one said, "I'm too old to play golf anymore. Would you take these set of clubs?" He said, "I'm 72 and I can't see the ball anymore." He says, "Well, why don't you play with old Richard here? He's 86. He says, "And the two can walk around the middle 9 holes and just play the game." He said, "That's a good idea." So he goes out on the first tee and he hits the ball. And Richard said, "Hey, that were a good shot, Addy. I like that one. You hit that one well there, didn't you, lad? Hey, great, great." "Yes, did you see it?" He said, "Oh, yes, I've seen that one. Hey, it was very good, that were. Yeah, great shot." He said, "Did you see where it went to?" He said, "Yes, yeah, of course I did, yeah. Very good, yeah. He said, "Where'd it go?" He said, "I forget."
Sincerity, to be a success in this game, you do need a good wife behind you. No, but I made the biggest mistake in my life. No, I did. You know, when I got married, she's a bad woman. She is a narc. She's a born troublemaker. As a matter of fact, the day we got married, we had a row. She wanted me on the wedding photographs. But she's got no sense of humour. I mean, I got in this morning about 3:30. And she shouted downstairs, "What's all that about?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to bring this 2-gallon of bitter upstairs." She said, "Well, leave it there till tomorrow." I said, "I've drank it." I was coming out tonight, you know, and she said, "Listen, you." She said, "If you don't stop going to clubs every night, drinking," she says, "I'm going on the game." I said, "Well, if you do, you'll have to go to Social Security to make your money up."
You're 'cause I got in the other night and the place was in darkness. I went up them stairs at 2 at a time, look, 'cause you makes half as much row like that, look. And there she is, led in that bed. The moon's a shining through the windows and a bouncing off her curlers, mate. And they're showing up her. You wanted to see her, mate. Oh, God almighty. There's the only woman I know can make a black negligee look like a dustbin liner, mate. I thought I'll be undressing in that bed for an I've been out, mate. First I kicked the cat, didn't I? He let out holler. Her come up off that bed like rigor mortis had set in. Fix me with that good eye of hers. Her got something wrong the left and the right and to keep looking at her all the time. Her said, "What's the meaning of coming home half drunk?" I said, "I run out of money."
Why do you put our mother's photograph on the mantelpiece? I said, it's the only thing I know to keep the kids right from the fire.
And there's no pleasing it. I took her and her mother out for a meal the other night to a little restaurant where I sometimes go. The manager came over, he says, nice to see you, Bob. What are you having? I said, I'll have a steak. Medium? I said, yeah. Well, he said, what about the vegetables? Oh, I said, just give them a bag of chips each. Her mother was straight down my throat. She says, you can't wait to see me dead so you can stamp on my grave. Well, she says, hey, not me. I can't stand standing in queues. No.
Well, I went to the dog's home. He said, we got a blind dog for my mother-in-law. He don't mean a guide dog. He said, no, a blind dog. If he sees, he'll go for a throat.
But it's funny, isn't it? You know, isn't it funny? Have you seen in this business, in show business, people are starting to get minders, haven't they? I was going to get a minder, you know. This fella, I advertised for a fella who could mind me, you know, karate expert. And he came to interview, and he interviewed this fella. And he said, I said, are you any good? He said, yeah. He said, black belt. I said, don't care how you're dressed. he said, I can kill anybody with my bare feet. Oh, I said, that's good. Karate, you know. So there was a fight in the pub, and before he could get his shoes and socks off, he got battered.
There's a friend of mine from America over. He says, well, show me around Manchester. I said, aye, all right. He said, what's that place? I says, a hospital. He says, we got them bigger than that in the States. I said, you will have. It's a mental hospital. One
of the fellas stood by the bus stop eating a meat pie. Do you remember that one? He stood eating a meat pie at the bus stop, and there's a woman there with a poodle. And the poodle's jumping up for a piece of the meat pie. He said, Missus, can I throw your dog a bit? She said, yes. So he picked the dog up, and he threw it.
My favourite religious joke, this little Irish priest, he was very ill. He'd been to see 4 doctors. They could find nothing wrong with him. They sent him to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist said, Father Murphy, there's nothing seriously wrong with you. You're overworked. You need to get yourself away from Ireland. Get over to England, relax, enjoy yourself. He sat in a Playboy club in London with a brown suit and a muffler around his neck and a cap on his head. And this beautiful bunny girl came up to him. She said, what would you like to drink, Father Murphy? He said, how did you know I was a priest? She said, I'm Sister Teresa. I go to the same psychiatrist.
This fella walked into a pub with his head like that. He walked into he showed to the barman, he said, hello, and the barman said, hello. He said, give us a pint, and I'll buy a drink for everybody in the pub. And the barman said, that's very nice, and he gave him a pint, and he bought a drink for everybody. He said, £37.50. He said, I haven't got any money. He said, you haven't got any money? If you'd have done that in the pub over the road, they'd have broke your neck. He said, I just come out of there.
There's an Irishman walking down the street with a big lump in his pocket. He said, what have you got in your pocket? He said, a dozen eggs. As the price.
3 Irishmen went for a job on the same building site. The foreman thought, well, I'd better try him out for intelligence. So he got them all in the shed. He said to the first one, what's 2 and 2? He said, 37. He said, no. Said to the second one, what's 2 and 2? He said, Wednesday. He said, oh, no. Said to the third one, what's 2 and 2? He said, would it be 4? He said, yeah, that's brilliant. How did you work that out? He said, I took Wednesday away from 37.
And they sat in front of a full-length mirror in a pub. He said, Murphy, look across there. There's 2 of them. There's a double of us. Oh, surely they are as well. I'll go and get them a drink. I said, sit down, there's one of them coming over here.
The fellow walking through the jungle, and he came across this pygmy and an elephant dead. Big dead elephant, 40 tons. The pygmy stood there. He said, what happened to the elephant? He said, I killed it. He said, what did you kill it with? He said, I killed it with a club. He said, it must have been a big club. He said, yeah, there was 300 of us.
We talked about during the war, you know, the lads in the dressing rooms about the two Irish fellas walking through Lime Street during the war and a bad argument. Remember the bad argument? You wouldn't remember the bad argument, would you? Your American father would. During... One said, look at them barrage, but what are they for? He said, they're for the enemy planes when they fly over to bomb us, they crash into the barrage balloons and they blow up. He said, doesn't the barrage balloons burst? Mickey said, no, they're full of concrete. Remember that one about the two fellas laying flags? This is an old one, they're laying flags. And there's an Rolls Royce pulls up and this fella in the Rolls Royce is watching him laying the flags. I said, who the hell? Who's he looking at? Go and have a word with him. He said, will, I will. Yes, I will. He said to the fella, do you want something? He said, no, I'm watching you chaps lay the flags. He said, are you in the same kind of business as us? He said, no, I'm a scientist. He said, but I work just as hard. But we work through a millionth of an inch. Oh, Mick said, it's no good to us. He said, why not? He said, these flags have got to be spot on.
My father never got over the war. He was taken prisoner by the Germans. He was in front of a firing squad with an Englishman and a Scotsman. The German officer said to the English fella, have you a last request before we shoot you? He said, could I have some fish and chips, please? He said to the Scotsman, have you a last request? He said, could I have fish, chips and peas, Jimmy? He said to my father, have you a last request? He said, could I go for them?
There's an English Irishman and a Scotsman joined the army, and the company sergeant major said that English Irishman and Scotsman is an intelligent test. So he said to the Englishman, 2 times 7, he went, 1, 2 is 2, 2 2 is 4, 3 2 is 6, I get paid for this, 4 2 is 8, 5 2 is 10. He said, very good. He said to the Scotsman, you're 3 times 7, he went, 1 3 is 3, 2 3 is 6, 3 3 is... He said, very good. He said, Paddy, you're 4 times 7, he went, D, 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 D. He said, what's this? D, 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 D. He said, I know the tune, but I don't know the words.
Well, I went to one of these strip clubs. There was a stripper on called Alexandra the Great. She was fantastic. She finished up with her clothes on. The audience was naked. And she had a 48-inch bust, both of them. She was a hunch front. That's a cracker. She said, I would like someone from the audience to help me with my buenas noches, señoras and señores. Javier Fonse es Calumet Quide. She's from Glasgow. Well, there's always an idiot in the audience. You know, a fellow wants to grab the mic and show. He's always drunk. This idiot girl, she did put your head in my chest, senor. When he put his head in her chest, she went. I said, it was disgusting, honestly. Degrading. I couldn't hear for a week.
And the comedians tonight were Stan Boardman, Bernard Manning, Jerry Thomas, Mick Miller, Ivor Davis, Frank Carson, Eddie Flanagan, Roy Walker, Bob Ritchie, George Roper, Dave Butler, Terry King, Tony Joe, and Johnny Carroll.
And that was the last of the comedians for the time being, but there's more mirth and madness in a few minutes on YTV with the Grumbleweeds Radio Show.
John Spencer now having to queue over the green ball. And what a disastrous stroke. And the referee's none too pleased either. Well, that's most peculiar.
I bet he drinks Carling Black Label. Do you ask him? Uncompromising referees insist on a pint that's brewed to give a fuller flavour than any other leading lager.
Carling Black Label.
Amazing, tire